Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with daily technical update. It is Friday the 15th of August and this video is for educational purpose only. There's no recommendation or advice whatsoever intended. It is purely to demonstrate how I try to read the market using technical analysis to demonstrate or to teach you guys how you can use it too. I hope you enjoy this. Today we'll start with Amazon, which we talked about a few days ago, that this gap area here would be key to close, and it did just that. Yesterday it went against a little bit against the stream, where market was a little bit iffy or a little bit lower, but not much really at the end of the day, but to start lower after PPI numbers came out a little bit higher than expected. So Amazon closed above 213.19, 230.19. And has now closed the gap, and I think it could push higher here in the coming days and weeks. RSI didn't quite close above 60 threshold, as you can see, but I think it will do that. We can see all moving average rising, so it seems like it will push higher. However, if it closes the new gap it has created here, and that will mean it closes down to, and we're only talking about body gaps, not the spikes or the shadows or wicks or whatever we call them, at 224.5, well then the bullish trend is likely to resume with the new potential push higher. The overall market basically unchanged. Yesterday Nasdaq 100 there could be looking a little bit choppy. We have divergence on the RSI. You can see the strength indicators declining, market moved higher, so but still I don't think we're just there yet. And here pre-market we can see, and now we again pushing a little bit higher, up about 0.25%. So a market seems fairly resilient at the moment. And if we're looking at S&P 500, it had a fairly okay day yesterday, basically unchanged. Dow Jones also unchanged really. You see basically unchanged. It's still the 45,060 that is a bit of a resistance up here. So let's see what it can do today and going into next week. And just a very quick look at what's going on in the market. 0.25% up on the S&P 500 future / the US 500 CFD. So it seems like we are pushing higher on the US market after a minor setback. In Asian session we had Seng that had this bearish candle here the other day, and it followed through yesterday. We talked about yesterday how it could set back, and yeah, I do apologize that Wednesday was a little bit later published. I can see not many of you have watched it, but it was a good one. I believe you can check out the Max 7 shares there, which I was talking about. Anyway, Hang Seng testing now the support here at 25,176. I think it will bounce from it, but we need the RSI getting back above 60 threshold again. Still positive sentiment, so I think we will bounce from it here early next week when we get back here. Let's see what the future is doing. Also setting back a little bit, so not really much to say. Nikkei bounced again after this bearish engulfing here, and this is actually the future. So bearish engulfing, taking out the previous bullish day, so now a bearish day, and then now a bullish day. If it does close above the peak there at 43,480, that this bearish candle here has been cancelled, and Nikkei can move higher. So that will be key to what's going into next week. EuroStoxx50 closed above resistance here at 5,420. RSI closed just above 60 threshold, so now we are in a bullish trend. I think we the next few days could push higher, maybe even today tested 5,467 level, and we can see here it's actually pre-market already testing it. So I think we will see it breaking higher on the EuroStoxx50. DAX above the falling trend line. Next big step will be 24,445. If it closes above that, then we are also likely to have DAX to close above 60 threshold. I think that will play out, but I need confirmation, so let's see that. But pre-market, we can see it is actually pushing higher here and indicating likely higher levels. So seems the European market has gotten its mojo back. On the FX market, we have euro dollar that, yes, it closed slightly just above the 117. We are still above the cloud. We are above 55 moving average, but I want to have the RSI back above 60 threshold to confirm this. And a little bit of a setback here now. It's blurring the picture a little bit. So let's see. It was 117.30 here on the 13th of August until we set back a little bit. If it takes out that peak there, then I think we will really have that full throttle bullish move towards 119. But we are still, you know, slightly a very short-term bullish on higher high, high low, higher high. So it's just a little bit of stuttering or struggling to push higher. If you like the euro dollar to move higher. The cable or sterling dollar got rejected there, as we talked about yesterday, 135.90, setting back a little bit, but we are in a bullish trend. If it takes it out, the peak from yesterday, just below 136, 136, and gets back above the cloud, well, then I think there's potential up to the 138 area. But we could still see a little bit of a setback here the next few days, possibly down to 135, maybe a little bit lower. If it slides back below the cloud here, then we could see it setting back to 134.20, 134. The euro sterling tested the 86 yesterday, spiking a little bit below the support area here. I think it will bounce today and possibly also the next few days. But if it takes out the lows from yesterday, then I think we could see further selling. But I will dare it a little bit and say, okay, I think we could see a bounce up to at least 86.50 plus, possibly, because it's a fairly strong support with the 55 moving average coming up there. However, if it takes it out, well, there's really not much stopping it until around 85.50, possibly 85.25. But let's see here the next few days. Dollar yen was selling off yesterday, and then it bounced strongly, and now it has drawn this rising trend line here, and that is because it could be a little bit skewed though, shoulder, head as shoulder. So if it takes out the lows from yesterday, then there's potential lower also below this rising trend line there, and possibly down to around the 143 level. So we are really on a knife's edge here at the moment. But 55 moving average giving some support. So let's see what it can do. And if it takes out the right shoulder-like pattern here, well, at 148.55, I always add a little bit. Then I think the potential shoulder-like pattern will be demolished and will push higher. But keep an eye on the lows here from yesterday at 146.20. Euro yen rejected there at the 786 retracement, then bounced or dropped to the 61.8 retracement of this uptrend there, and has bounced a bit. So if it takes out the lows there from yesterday at 170.97, well, then we could see it lower to 170.43, possibly down to 169.70 down here, where we have the 55 moving average also adding to that support area. If it takes out 173 and a change, which we actually reached there, 173, if it takes out that spike up there, then there's potential up to 175 and possibly higher. Aussie yen, excuse me, that was rejected there at the 786 retracement, set back to also here the 61.8 retracement, dipped a little bit below, could still slide lower to the 786 retracement, 95.30, strong support here at 94.85 area. That should be observed, and strong resistance up here at 97.30. The euro yen, sorry, sterling yen, that got rejected there around the 200, spiked a little bit above, got knocked down yesterday, then bounced, and then again they're trying to sell it off. Could still dip down to the 38.2, maybe even the 61.8 retracement, 197 and a change. But if it takes out the peak here at 200.30, well, then the uptrend is continuing higher, and there's positive sentiment on the RSI that could push it higher towards 202, possibly higher, if that scenario plays out with a break above at that peak. Aussie dollar, a little bit hard to read at the moment, to be honest. Sometimes you can struggle with that. Sometimes there's no clear picture, and that's how it is. And that's what we have at the moment. We had a slightly uptrend here with higher highs and higher lows, but suddenly you get a lower low. So is the entire bullish picture really has been reversed? At least it has been demolished somewhat, and that could be if it breaks below this rising trend line here, but especially if it takes out 64.18 down here, 64.15, always add or subtract a little bit depending on if it is a support or resistance. Here it's a support, so I subtract a little bit. So setting back there, if it drops below the cloud and the 61.8 retracement, then I think we will see a push down to here at this level. But 55 moving average, 100 moving average still bullish, but RSI negative. So that's why we have this blurry picture that is really hard to read. So I would say if it takes out the peak there at 65.70, then we can resume uptrend towards 66.5, 67. Dollar Canada, crawling higher above or around the 100 moving average that is coming down here. Got rejected at a 61.8 retracement there at 138.19. Positive sentiment on the RSI. Excuse me. No divergence, but it failed to close above 60 threshold yesterday, so that'll be key. But if it takes out the peak or the 61.8 here, well, then we could be looking at the level here just below 139, possibly even higher. So that will be key towards next few days. 137.20 key support. And sterling Canada, well, it's really struggling to continue its uptrend, and I actually expected a bit of a correction lower unless it can take out the peak from yesterday. And then I think we will get a little bit of a correction. And so what I will do is say maybe that's a little bit of peak. Let's see what happens today. If we get a bearish candle today, then I definitely think we will see that correction down to possibly 185.35, sorry, the 38.2 retracement. We could see a correction after this massive or very strong bullish push here, really. But if it takes out that peak up there, then we could see a push up to the previous peak here at 188.30. Euro Swiss, just dancing sideways, but bullish sentiment or positive sentiment and bullish trend. So it's, I would say the same. We could see a little bit of a setback, and then maybe another push above the 94.50 area, possibly up to 95, maybe even. So, but we have all the moving average coming up here. 100 still declining, but 21 is pushing. Monday morning, I think it will break above the 55. That will give it a little bit extra support to the upside, but it's taking a breather here. So, but if it slides back below 93.50, then downtrend could resume. Dollar Swiss, sideways range between 80.10 and this 81.72, so 81.75, I would say. But let's see what it can do. I think if it takes out that peak there, then it will actually also test that up there and push to 82.50, sorry. But the 100 moving average coming down, kind of putting a lid on it. But keep an eye on especially this support here at 80.11, 80.10. That would be key. If it takes it out then and close below, then lower levels are likely to follow. Dollar index, 98.50 resistance. If it takes it out, then I think we will see a push higher. And what we can do is say, okay, we can add a Fibonacci to that. You can see the 38.2 just around there. So if it takes it out, I think we get up to 99.06, which is 61.8, maybe up to 99.5. If it takes out the lows here, 97.45, downtrend has resumed. Moving on to metals and to golds. Can't really make up its mind what it want to do. So a bit of volatility around these levels here, around 33.50 area. Excuse me. We have the strength indicator still in a positive sentiment. So I think we could still see it setting back a little bit, given that we had a little bit of a sell-off there yesterday. We could still see it setting back down to maybe 3,300 and the 100 moving average coming up. So no really direction at the moment. Big key support is still 32.45. There's still a bit of way to go. And the other side is 34.10 for a bullish trend to be resumed, a strong bullish trend to be resumed. Silver, well, it closed above the resistance there at 38.25, 38.30. Then got knocked down back yesterday, but we are still up and lower, higher high, lower high, higher high. So let's see. Key support 37.50. If it takes down that, well, then we have a different picture where it can slide back below 37 and possibly lower. So I think we will see it crawling slowly higher, and especially if it takes out the peak from yesterday, then it will continue higher towards 39 and beyond. Platinum this morning actually yesterday closed above the that little resistance there. So if we have a higher close, we have a push again today, but actually during this session, early session this morning, actually spiked down to 55 once again and then bounced. And now we have reached 50% of this downtrend. Let's see what it can do. It started to push above the falling trend line here on the RSI. So maybe if it can stay up here, it will push higher. Then we're looking at 1400, possibly higher. So keep an eye on platinum. Copper, on the other hand, I mean, you just want to fall asleep when you're looking at just trading sideways, but suddenly it could move again. But 460 to the upside and 433 to the downside. It seems to be the range at the moment, and could stay range bound there for quite a while. Moving on to energy market and crude oil. Here we have WTI bouncing before it actually reached the 60 threshold. Not unsurprisingly, I think we could see maybe a bounce up to the 38.2 retracement at 65.21. And then I think we will continue pushing lower. We will resume downtrend. We have the 100 coming down, 21 moving average coming down, 50 still slightly rising, but also 200 declining. Brent also a little bit of a bounce, could bounce up to the 38.2, 30 at 68.30. The 100 moving average also pushing it down here. Still negative sentiment on the RSI. Nat gas, European nat gas that bounced from the minor support there. Could have another go. We are in this falling channel-like pattern. I wouldn't be surprised to see it sliding lower towards 31.30. These lows over here, we are very close to indeed. And we have lower low, see, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, and maybe a new lower low. So bearish trend all around. Moving on to the US 10-year Treasury yield that really had experienced a bit of volatility lately. So this seems to be the range, 420 to the downside and 431 to the upside. But see, all the moving averages actually decline now. Maybe not 200s, they're basically flat, but all of them are declining. So it doesn't seem like we will have a US 10-year Treasury yield pushing to highs at the moment, but everything can change if it start working its way above 431 then towards 440 and higher. If it takes out the 420, and it didn't do that yesterday, it bounced again. Then we're looking for at 12. On the European yields, we have the EU 10-year, well, dropped a little bit yesterday, but it's still range bound. Slightly lower. All the lows here are rising, so the underlying trend is a little bit bullish, I would say. And we also had a higher close here compared to, yes, I know we spiked higher, but we had a higher close, and that is key. So we actually have a little bit of a rising trend there. So keep an eye on those. This 277, if it takes out that, well, then we could see high highs. I think it will even materialize if we take out that peak there at 276. So slightly bullish underlying trends on the EU 10. UK 10, basically massive sideways here between 470 and actually down to 440. But there's some support here at 450. Cryptocurrencies were really moving yesterday. A lot of volatility. Bitcoin got hammered back down here. And what I will do, I will actually see, okay, where did it hit some Fibonacci levels that we can use for anything. Didn't get all the way down to 61.8 retracement before bouncing. Didn't get all the way, but very close to. I think we'll see it's trying to crawl higher, but if it takes out the lows from yesterday, then we could see it setting back to 114,682 with the 786 retracement. Ethereum also got knocked down a bit, but not as much. And again, if it takes out the peak here from yesterday to the past 2 days, well, then there's potential up to 5,000. But we could be also in for a bit of correction there. So what I will do, just to guide myself, if I was trading this, which I'm not, we could actually see it setting back to the previous peak there at 4,100 and maybe down to 3,900. Don't think so. It seems to be a very strong trend indeed. So if it takes out the peak there, we are looking at 5,000. All right, that's all for today from me, and I'll talk to you again on Monday. Have a nice weekend.